shared at the beginning about your family gatherings. A tradition we have in the Anderson clan is that we'll get together for Thanksgiving. We do many other celebrations, but Thanksgiving, and we'll have every other year, everybody, or a year where it's just some, and everyone else goes to the in-laws and outlaws, all those places. Well, this year was a smaller group, and the last couple of years I have been hosting. So I cook the turkey, like in a roaster, and I provide the wine. And everybody else brings everything else. And this year, I gotta tell you, it was a disaster. The turkey didn't get done. So I found out the real meaning of what families do when they get together. They make fun of their brother who screwed up. Yeah, that's what you do. The roaster was defective, I found out later. But in the meantime, the family, chided me and gave me a hard time. And of course, we have all these teenagers, and they can't wait. So they kind of dug into everything right away, the potatoes and stuff. And we sort of had turkey for dessert after. Everything got done, we put it in the oven. And so even like some of my brothers were saying, yeah, you screwed up here, give me some more wine, that kind of thing. And it would have been worse if they were just painfully polite. Like, oh, that's okay, but your house looks nice, that kind of stuff. No, family, they go right for the jugular. They just say what it is. They say, yeah, well, you screwed up, oh well. That's what I love about family. Because there's always going to be some kind of screw up in a family. Whenever you get together, something's happened. Sometimes those are big things, like what Joseph and Mary encountered, where they have a life threatened. And the sequence of Gospels is odd, because next weekend we're going to hear about the Magi coming to visit Jesus. This Gospel is after they leave, and then the family, what happens to them. You see, the Magi, they don't go back to King Herod and tell him where Jesus is born. They go a different route, and so Herod's mad. So he says, I tell you what, I'm just going to kill all the boys in the whole area, all the little toddlers. And so Joseph hears in a dream this is going to happen, so they flee to Egypt. We got to think of all the families now that are leaving one country to go to another. And that whole mess about what to do, but perhaps a lot of those families are also fleeing because a life is in danger. They feel like someone's going to get killed. Anyway, the Holy Family, they deal with this drama. They figure it out. And with families, that's what we do. We figure it out. And families typically are the ones who will be there for us. Say when there's an issue, like it's oftentimes the family who are around the bed at the hospital, doing the waiting and praying. Or it's family members that we call upon when we need a ride somewhere, our car breaks down. And family are the ones to tease us, give us a hard time. Because it seems like even with families, no matter what, they will be there for you and with you. I also have to mention that sometimes in families, there is a lot of bad things that happen. And I never want to encourage any of you to just enable bad behavior. If there is abuse in family, or if there is some real toxic behavior, you got to do what you got to do to keep safe. You got to set up the boundaries, or sometimes even leave the situation. So I want to encourage that. But for most of us with families, we endure. We stick there for each other. Things aren't always perfect, but we somehow manage to get through. So I came up with some ideas about what families teach us. One of the things that they teach us is how to share. Now, as you know, I come from a big family. I'm the second of 7 kids. So we always had to share. I hated it growing up. I wanted my own this, my own room, and that never happened. But when you learn how to share as a kid, sometimes then you are more open to share as an adult, or to negotiate, to compromise, whether it's with that group, or that committee, or that task force you're on. And many times it's in the sharing that we are asked to do as family, we recognize that it's not just about us, that we have to look out for other people also. Second thing, if you do not transform your pain, you will always transmit it. Let me say that again. If you don't transform your pain, you will always transmit it. Many family systems just inherit an attitude or a way of being. Sometimes those are painful. And if you don't do something about it, if you don't stop that kind of attitude and, well, we've always done it this way, or we always act like this, or we have this opinion, if you don't do something about it, you're probably just going to keep passing it on to your kids and their kids. It just keeps going. It doesn't have to be that way. You can stand up for what is right, do the right thing. If you don't transform that pain you receive, it just keeps going on in the family. Next thing, your attitude about life often shapes life's attitude about you. Many times when we look at the world, and if we have this, oh, they're out to get me, oh, everybody's bad, everybody's evil, that's probably what you're going to encounter. If that's the only way you view life, then you're probably going to see all the bad all the time. But if you change your attitude and say, you know what, there is good out there. And there are wonderful things that happen all over. If you become more thankful for what you have, as opposed to complaining all the time, probably you're going to receive more graces, more insight. As that second letter said, we just heard it. The writer says, put on heartfelt compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. It was true thousands of years ago. It's still true today. Next thing. Everyone deserves a second chance. Many times there are things that happen within families, words that are said, actions that are done that really cause damage. But forgiveness is a gift you can give to yourself. Because some people will stay with a resentment for decades, or some people will, I'm not talking to this person after what they did or how they do that. But when you can let go of it and trust God within it, some good things can happen, and everyone deserves a second chance. Maybe that person has changed. Find out. Maybe they're not the way they always were. Find out. Maybe there is a reason why they said that. Talk. Again, in that second reading, the writer said, bear with one another. Forgive one another. If you have a grievance against another, as the Lord has forgiven you, so you must also do. It's that simple. As we ask for God's forgiveness, we're going to start forgiving others, even those that hurt us a lot. Last one. The family that prays together stays together. It's that simple. When you pray as a family, there is a bond that happens. Sure, there are some families who pray and they still break up, they still have fights. I get that. But generally, if you attend to that kind of cohesiveness, this is important to us. With the new year happening, it's as simple as saying, when we get together at mealtime, let us say prayers. Or throughout the year, whether it's together with the rosary or whether it's reflecting on a reading, it's recognizing that there is a powerful bond of faith when you come together to pray. And especially when you come together at church together. I'm always impressed when I see families here. And there's some of you I know that have family members who aren't coming to church or who haven't come in a long time. Well, You know, maybe what you can do is continue to invite them. Continue to demonstrate that this is how it's important to me. Say, like, you got a birthday coming up. Say, why don't you come? The present to me is come to church, or for Father's Day or Mother's Day. Recognizing that there is something so nice when we gather here, especially with Christ our light and his family. Because again, that writer in the second reading said, in all things be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. Whatever you do, in word or in deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus. There was an author, his name is Richard Bach. He once wrote, "The bond that links your true family is not one of blood, but of respect and joy in each other's life. And often the members of one's true family don't grow up under the same roof." Here at Christ Our Light, we consider ourselves a family. We're so delighted to have all of you here. And you got to remember, even if you screw up the turkey many times, you're always welcome here. You are family.